Hello guys, my name is Destiny Muchenje and I'm here with and we're here we're going to introduce Malibongwe
Yeah, Mtila, surname.
Oh, okay. So guys, you told us about university next year, so I want to ask which degrees are you interested in next year?
Okay, so university next year, I'm interested in obtaining a PhD for mathematics, physical sciences, and literature.
Damn. Okay, why do you want to obtain these three PhDs?
Well, it starts with literature, you see, because if you look at it, it's all language, all of these three fields. You might think that they're different, but in actuality, they're not different at all. You see, haven't you ever wondered what mathematics is? Where does it come from? How has it been derived? Have you ever wondered about that?
Yeah, I have. I'm like, why do we do maths?
Guys, I really want to know.
Yeah, no. So, you see, at first it was all language. They used words to describe things, but since they discovered that when you use words, it takes up a lot of space and a lot of time, they invented symbols, you see. When you say 1 plus 1, instead of writing that down, you could just use 1 symbolically and the symbol plus, which is cross, plus 1, you see. So mathematics is actually language. It's a symbolical representation of language. That is what mathematics is. And then physical sciences depends on mathematics, because without mathematics we won't be able to do the calculations, we won't be able to do measurements, we won't be able to quantify data in any way. It will be impossible, you see. So first I'm going to start with language. You see, with language, let's talk about the word geography, right? So the word geo means earth, right? And the graphy at the end means measure, right? So geography means earth measure. You get it?
I think I know it. That's why we calculate distance in geography.
Yeah, and all of those things. So if you can imagine if you were able to understand language. No, let me start like this. Everything is logic. Everything is logical that we do. But where does logic come from? We invented logic. The person who invented logic was Aristotle, right? So logic is a certain way of thinking. Let's say 1 plus 1 equals 2, right? Meaning if you add two things that are of equal quantity, you get two things, right? So language is like that. If you want to say something, there has to be an is, there has to be an a in a certain sentence that you're constructing. So if you are able to understand literature, if you are able to master literature, if you are able to master logical, linguistical thinking, then you'd have the entire world in your hands, because everything that we do it logically. The way we construct buildings, the way we name things, the way we do things, our entire thought pattern is logical and linguistical. So if I was able to master literature, to master language, then nothing will be able to stop me.
You'll be having the whole world in your hands.
Yeah, the entire world will be in my hands. Just from a simple thing called language. You know?
I never knew that geography meant measure.
I'm surprised.
I never knew. I just knew it's geography as a subject.
Yeah, because no, just from the heading of geography, then you already know what's going to happen, because you earth and measure, and then what does the earth consist of? It consists of plants. It consists, but because it's measure, we're measuring things. So what measurable things are there on earth? You have the mountains, you have the valleys, you have many things on that are measurable. So just from that, you already know what you're going to study, right? And then when you dive into it, into the activities, into the topics, you already have a general or a broader perspective of what's going on, and everything goes on easy, right? It will be the same with everything, with maths, with physics. If you know what physics means, then you already...
What does physics mean?
Physics, eh? But that is linguistical as well, because about physics. You mean the definition of physics? Well, I never pondered that question, so I honestly don't know.
You know, when you find it, please do tell me what it means, because I'm very curious about what physics really means.
Well, nowadays we do have internet, so you can just Google it.
Google lies sometimes. Google lies sometimes. You never trust Google. Google lies sometimes.
Yeah, it's lies sometimes.
So since we're done about your PhD and all that stuff, I do have some questions in general about that involve astrophysics and science and stuff.
Oh.
So my general question is about the popular black hole in space. What do you think about that black hole?
Well, my interest in astrophysics started when I was in grade 7, I think, where I read these books by Stephen Hawking, by Albert Einstein. It was very interesting. And I did use social media as well to keep up with that, you know, the Sagittarius star, our black hole, you know. So, what actually is happening in a black hole is that you need to imagine like a sheet, an elastic sheet, you know. Can you see the floor that we're standing on? Imagine the floor as a sheet that is very elastic sheet, right? Like a trampoline. So, imagine putting a ball on the trampoline. Imagine putting a ball on a trampoline, right? So what's going to happen to the trampoline, to the elastic sheet that's on the trampoline?
It's only go with the builder.
Exactly. And then if that's there, what happens if you put a marble there next to the ball on the trampoline? What's going to happen? It's going to move to the ball, right? That's how gravity works. So the entire universe is like a sheet, broadly expanded infinitely in every direction. So when you put the sun, then you put the planets, and then you put everything, then everything starts warping. But it's going to move to where there's the greatest mass. So the thing that has the greatest mass is the sun, right? So that's why the planets orbit around the sun, you know? And then imagine if you had something even heavier than the sun, something unbelievably heavy. What would you do to the sheet? You would rip a hole in it, right?
Yes.
And that's a black hole. That's how you get a black hole.
So, in my understanding, it's like a black hole. It's like when something is much heavier than other things.
Yes, when it's very heavy. Mm-hmm.
Then it spreads.
No.
It breaks the thing, the sheet. Maybe let's say the sheet that you said.
You know the sheet, right? Is going to get all warped, unbelievably warped, and nothing can escape. So even you can imagine, you put a ball, very heavy ball, in an elastic sheet, a very broad elastic sheet, right? Okay, imagine we have a table right here, right? We have a table, and then we have on top of the table there's a sheet which is very elastic, like a trampoline. You know, there's a hole, right? And then there's a sheet, a very broad sheet. And if we put something heavy, let's say a metal ball or a bowling ball, we put a bowling ball in the center, then it's going to warp, right? And then if we take marbles, pieces of marble, and then we just put them on the sides, they're going to move to the center, aren't they? So that's how the planets, they behave. When there's an object of great mass, they move towards it. But they don't move directly like this because they're rotating, they just spin around it without ever touching it. You know? That's gravity. Gravity is the force, that thing that causes them to move to the center. That is gravity. You know? But if the sun is very heavy, if the object is very, very heavy, then the gravity increases because the thing is unbelievably heavy. And then the gravity increases, and then a black hole forms out of that, and then nothing can escape because you know light, and the light you get from the sun, it's particles, isn't it? Meaning it has mass, meaning even it can't escape from a black hole. So a black hole is an unbelievably warped part of space. And the amazing thing about it is that it moves. I don't know what that happens.
How does it move?
I have no idea how that happens, if you want to know.
I just getting into about the black hole.
Yeah, it's a very interesting thing. If you want to pursue it, then I guess.
I'm taking astrophysics, guys.
Yeah, you should go and try it. And what about you? What are you interested in pursuing?
Well, in the future, I want to be in the medical field, especially the neurosurgeon side. Like the brain. I love working with the brain, but mathematics is it's a bit hard. Actually, it's not hard, but it requires like a lot of work and time management. So I have to exercise and get to know myself and like have time for me to study.
Yeah, because you do need the result to get in, don't you?
I really do.
brain is a very interesting organ.
I mean, it's very important to the human body.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
But me though, I also do the same thing. But there is this question that always gets in my head. It's like, how does the brain process information and how does it keep memories? When it's just, by example, an organ of the body, how does it do all of that?
Well, I'd say it depends on the cells. You know, there are different types of cells in the human body. There are the cells for your hair, cells for your skin, cells for your teeth, cells for your eyes. So there are different tissues that are in the body, and some cells are specifically specialized for a certain objective, such as storing memory. You know, because we do know that it's impulse that is carried by the cells from, let's say, you're touching something, but the sensory neurons, they're actually located in the muscle. So what you notice is if one was lumane like so, like this, you'll notice you won't feel anything. You won't feel pain at all because you didn't touch the muscle. But if you bite yourself, let's say your entire finger, you bite it like this, then you'll feel pain. So the impulse, the stimulus, the pain is transmitted into an impulse, and then it moves from your thumb all the way to your brain where it is processed. But we understand that there are certain cells that are specialized for activities or things such as that, you know. So it's all about the cells.
But that's such an amazing one about it.
It's very amazing. It's very interesting with that. Do you know the myth that we use 10% of our brain? Have you ever heard of that? Well, I did do a presentation, but my first presentation was about that. And the brain has 100% capacity of what we can do, but we only use 10%. But as I did more reading, I understood that it was just a myth. You know? It wasn't anything like tangible. Because scientists discovered that the brain vibrates, the entire brain vibrates when a person is active. When you're asleep, but still a certain portion of it is still firing electrons when you're asleep. So there's a lot of myth about certain objective things that we pursue, such as in our science, in our the things that we're interested in black holes, in mathematics, in language. So you have to be very critical. The information you take in, you read it, you think about it, you compare it with other sources until you find the right source. Yeah? Because there are some information is distorted out there. You know?
I'm mind blown right now. I just thought physics was just a subject, but I never knew that we actually live where physics is and science is within reality. And
How well, here in high school, it's just the basics of being introduced to physics. Then when you get out there, you go to university, and then science gets pretty interesting. And you need to be a very energetic person. You need to be eccentric. You need to have an imagination in order to grasp all the things that they're talking about. I mean, a black hole. Can you imagine what a black hole is? Well, the person I know, since it's black, maybe you could just step into a room and then switch off the lights and then, oh, it's black.
Black hole.
Yeah, it's a black hole. But it's not anything like that. You need to be able to imagine. You need to be energetic, to read all of these things and then go there with a mindset already set on it, you know?
wow. Anyway, it's questions.
Actually, yes, I do. About the moon, actually, you know. So NASA, you know, I'm not sure who it was that went to space, and then it is said that people cannot step on the moon. What is your opinion?
Step on the moon, like
Walk on another planet. Like you don't go, anyone cannot go there. It's like the green is.
well, I'd say it is dangerous because since the moon, there's weaker gravity there. There's weaker gravity, so I'm sure you've seen this in movies as well, where you step on the moon, but if you jump, it will actually take you a while to get back to the ground, eh? So I suppose there is a danger to that. Suppose that, well, I wouldn't say I know, but you know, there's a certain radius around the moon which consists of its own gravity, the gravity that's pulling you there, it's allowing you to stick to the ground of the moon, right? But who's to say that it's only, let's say, 3 meters of the radius that's there, and then if you jump and exceed that, you can just fly off into space. But
Imagine.
no,
Goes
just
into space.
Yeah, you just fly into space. So maybe there's a danger to that. But on the part where you can step on the moon, I don't think that there's anything like that, because there have been scientists. You have Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon, the Apollo landing, and the United States flag.
Oh, yes.
And his quote, "First step for man, one child leave for mankind." Well, he did step on the moon, so that is something real. I think it is possible to step on the moon or any other planet. And we have probes out there as well, such as the drones by Elon Musk, the SpaceX program, you know, where he visits Mars with all of those drones, and then he drives and explores there. So yes, I think it is possible to step on the moon or any other planet in the solar system.
Wow, thank you.
Okay.
The moon is very wondrous.
Yeah.
And also Albert Einstein.